We're going to pass the real estate exam in 2025. All right, we're back in the classroom. We have 20 more real estate exam questions today. The way it works, I take these 20 real estate exam questions. I've never seen these, so I don't know the answer. I'm going to try to figure it out. I want you guys to try to figure it out with me, and then we'll see how we did at the end. This is kind of a study with me channel. If you want to pass the real estate exam in 2025, subscribe. We have more vocab words, more test questions, more concepts. It's all on the channel. Please subscribe and support. Now let's jump into the questions. All right, here we are. This is how it looks. We are doing the real estate sales national plus California. So I'm doing the California specific one, but it also has national questions. And this is on the laws of agency. I looked at my previous quizzes, and this is one of my worst subjects. So I want to study and hammer these laws of agency down. So we're going to jump right into it. Question 1. A month after taking a listing, the listing agent decides that they want to make an offer to purchase the listing. What special agency disclosure is required? A, that the agent will now be a dual agent. B, that the agent will continue to represent the seller. C, that the seller is no longer represented and should seek representation. D, no additional disclosure is required. I believe it is C, that the seller is no longer represented and should seek representation. I don't think you want to be able to, if you're going to put a purchase of your own, then you also don't want to represent the seller. That seems like some sort of conflict of interest. Correct. When a listing agent takes a listing, they agree to represent the seller. When the agent decides to buy the listing, they no longer represent the seller and must disclose this to the seller and suggest that the seller obtain representation or represent themselves. Next question. Question 2. Under California workers' compensation law, the broker is responsible for employees, A, employees, B, clients and employees, C, salespeople, D, employees and salespeople. I think it is A, employees, B, clients and employees, C, salespeople, employees and salespeople. Probably employees and salespeople? Correct. In regards to workers' comp, brokers are responsible for both clerical employees and salespeople. Next question. Question 3. Under common law, an agent's fiduciary obligations to his or her client include A, notification, obedience, loyalty, and confidentiality. B, care, obedience, loyalty, accountability, and notice. C, communication, obedience, loyalty, agency, and notice. D, concern, discretion, accountability, and loyalty. Right off the bat, I think A, notification, obedience, loyalty, and confidentiality. That seems like pretty good. Care, obedience, loyalty, accountability, and notice. I mean, I guess you have to care. And there's some ethics around that. Communication, obedience, loyalty, agency, and notice. That one actually seems pretty good too. They all sound the same kind of, because communication and notification could be the same. Concern, discretion, accountability, and loyalty. I want to say, I don't think it's D. Communication, obedience, loyalty, agency, and notice. Let's go with C. Incorrect. Okay. The answer was B, care, obedience, loyalty, accountability, and notice. These duties are often remembered by the acronym of COLAN. Okay, more acronyms we have to learn. Actually, I'm going to do a video soon on all of the real estate acronyms that I know. So COLAN, C-O-L-A-N, care, obedience, loyalty, accountability, and notice. That should be on there. Subscribe if you want to see that video. Coming soon. Question 4, an agent realizes that one of the houses in their routine farm area would be a good fit for their buyer customer. The agent gets the seller to agree to pay their broker a commission if the buyer makes an acceptable offer. What kind of agency has been created if no listing agreement was entered into? A, ostensible agency. B, agency by agreement. C, agency by ratification. D, agency by estoppel. I want to say B, agency by agreement. Actually, it's tough because no listing agreement was entered into, but the seller agreed to pay their broker. I'm going to go with agency by agreement. Incorrect. Agency by ratification was the correct answer. There was no listing agreement, so the relationship is created by the seller accepting the benefits of the relationship, also known as ratification. All right, so we started off hot. We were 2 for 2. Now we're 2 for 4. Next question. Question 5. What is impossible for a listing agent to do? A, be a dual agent. B, represent a buyer and seller. C, represent a buyer only. D, represent the seller only. So if you are a listing agent, you are not going to be able to represent the buyer only. Pretty sure listing agent is the selling You are listing the house for the seller. So you can be a dual agent and find a buyer. You can represent a buyer and a seller, and you can represent the seller only, but the buyer doesn't make any sense if you're trying to sell the house. Correct. When an agent takes a listing, they agree to represent the seller. The agent may be a dual agent or buyer, could just be a customer. The listing agent cannot abandon the seller and just represent the buyer. Question 6. A sales agent is selling their own personal property, the condition of which they misrepresent. The agent is sued and raises the defense that they were not acting as an agent in this sale, but rather they were selling their own personal property. The probable outcome of the case is the broker will be liable. A. B. The case will be dismissed for no cause of action. C. The sales agent will win. D. The sales agent will be held liable. I think the sales agent will be held liable. Correct. Sales agents are subject to the rules of professional ethics 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, whether selling property for someone else or for themselves. Agents selling their own property are not relieved of their professional or ethical responsibilities. All right, we're back on track with the correct. Question 7. An agency relationship should be created by which of the following methods? A. Estoppel. B. Implication. C. Expressed written agreement. D. Ratification. So we know that they didn't have a written listing agreement on that last one, and that one was ratification. Is this the same thing as, is this another ratification question? Let's try. Or it's express written agreement, I think. Or yeah, this one's tough for me. Incorrect. Okay, so I faked myself out. Express written agreement. An agency agreement should be created by expressed written agreement. The term estoppel refers to a parent agency, which is created when a person allows an agent to appear to be the agent of that person without any actual authority. Ratification is the acceptance of an agent after the performance of the act. A real estate agent should have expressed authority before performing any acts for a principal. Implication is used to create an agency relationship by parties' conduct where no express agreement exists. Okay, so we just got the definition of all 4 of these types of agency. I think that's a good thing to write down, all 4 of these. Estoppel, implication, express written agreement, and ratification. We're going next. Question 8. A real estate agent in a sales transaction is referred to as what type of agent? A. General agent. B. Special agent. C. Universal agent. D. Limited agent. Okay, I've seen this one before and I always get it wrong. I want to say it's a special agent, but it could be general agent. I'm going to try it. Special agent. Okay, I'm starting to remember these questions a little bit. A special agent is an agent with limited authority. There is no such thing as a limited agent. A general agent can do anything for the principal in one particular area. Example, managing real estate. As long as there is a written broker/client contract, a universal agent can do anything and everything for the principal, i.e. general durable power of attorney. So in a sales transaction, special agent. Question 9. Death of the broker or principal, or incapacity, insanity, or bankruptcy of the principal are all ways agency can be terminated by A. Full performance. B. Acts of the parties. C. Expiration of its terms. D. Operation of law. Principal or incapacity, insanity are of the principal. I want to say acts of the parties. Expiration of its term. It's not full performance. Incorrect. Operation of the law. In the event of death, incapacity, insanity, or bankruptcy, the agency relationship ends by operation of law. It's kind of morbid. Question 10. A listing agent works for the seller. A buyer's agent works for the buyer. What responsibility does a licensee have to the other agent's party? A. There is no responsibility owed to another party, as agents' duties are owed only to their principals. B. The agent must keep the other party's confidential information from his or her own principal. C. The agent must treat all parties to the transaction honestly and fairly. D. The agent owes the first duty of allegiance to the other party. I don't think it's D. There's no responsibility owed to another. I think you do have to, obviously you want to keep the other party's confidential information just for ethics purposes. The agent must, I think I clicked this one last time. The agent must treat all parties to the transaction honestly and fairly. I think that was the wrong answer, but we're going to try it again. Oh, it's the right answer. Okay, good. Just go with like what's like generally fair and honest and ethical. That's a good rule of thumb. Whether representing a buyer or seller, an agent may never treat the other party dishonestly or unfairly. Duties of confidentiality, obedience, and loyalty are owed to the principal and are not owed to the party the agent does not represent. All right, we're halfway through these questions. If you want your own set of test questions, click the link below. I partnered up with the website called Colibri, and this is also the website CompuCram that we're using today. They offer test questions for over 40 plus states, not just California. Also, if you want to get your pre-licensing courses done, they also offer that. Click the link below, support the channel, use the code BURKE40, BURKE 40, get 40% off everything and support the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Let's get back into the questions. Question number 11. The best description of principal is A, an owner of real estate, B, one who employs a broker to represent their interests in matters of real estate, C, a customer, D, a landlord. Principal, I want to say it's A or B, probably A, an owner of real estate. Incorrect. Okay, so I knew it was A or B. One who employs a broker to represent their interests in matters of real estate. See, the laws of agency, I gotta study these more. Question rationale. The agent represents the principal and therefore owes a fiduciary duty to the principal. An agent works with but not for a customer. Question 12. What would be a violation of agency? The agent does not reveal any confidential information to either client. B, the agent gets the informed consent to act as a dual agent. C, the agent discloses to the buyer what the seller is willing to accept. D, the agent does not advocate for either buyer or seller. A violation of agency, the agent does not reveal any confidential to either client. So what was a violation? The agent does not advocate. So what is this agent doing? Incorrect. Okay, the agent discloses to the buyer what the seller is willing to accept. The agent, when acting as a dual agent, may not advocate on behalf of either buyer or seller, nor disclose information that gives one party an advantage over the other party. I think I had this question last time and I got confused because nowhere in this does it say it is a dual agent. So if you're representing the buyer, would you not want to tell the buyer what the seller is willing to accept? If you're representing the buyer only? See, that's why it gets confusing on this one. That's a thumbs down for me, probably. Question 13. An attorney, in fact, is best described as A, power of attorney, B, a fiduciary to his principal, C, an attorney at law, D, a principal. I think a power of attorney. Incorrect. A fiduciary to his principal. I got to get this principal. I keep messing up this principal. An attorney, in fact, receives authority under a power of attorney and need not be an attorney at law. An attorney, in fact, is an agent for the principal and thus owes the principal all fiduciary duties. We're going to pass this real estate exam one question at a time, but it's not looking too hot right now. Question 14. An agency relationship can be terminated legally without recourse under which of the following circumstances? A, when the salesperson becomes mentally incompetent. B, when the listing broker dies. C, when the buyer dies. D, when the listing salesperson dies. So we got to figure out what happens when people die. And we already had a question like this. An agency relationship can be terminated legally without recourse under the following circumstances: when the salesperson becomes mentally incompetent, when the listing broker dies, when the buyer dies. I'm going to say when the buyer dies. Incorrect. When the listing broker dies. The listing broker is the agent of record in a listing. A listing is an employment agreement. Therefore, when an employee dies, the agreement is void. This is not the salesperson listing. The listing belongs to the broker of record in every transaction, not to the agent. So you sign a contract saying that you're the only one listing this broker, so then it would terminate agency. When a buyer dies, I guess they just find another buyer. That was the wrong answer. Question 15. What would one call a selling agent who is not the listing agent? A, general agent. B, cooperating agent. C, universal agent. D, seller's agent. So I'm going to say cooperating agent, selling agent. I don't even know if that's a real agent or general agent. Remember they said general is like everything. Cooperating agent. Okay. Got one right. The broker that takes the listing is called the listing broker. The selling broker is the cooperating agent. Question 16. Which of the following is the best example of a special agent? A, real estate licensee. B, limited agent. C, universal power of attorney. D, property manager. I want to say the special agent is the regular agent, right? The real estate licensee. Correct. By definition, a special agent is one who has very limited authority and may do only one thing for the principal, i.e. find a ready and willing and able buyer. A universal agent may do anything for the principal, and a general agent is an agent who may do anything in one particular area, i.e. property manager. There is no such thing as a limited agent. So we got to learn all the different types of agents. Question 17. One who acts or has the power to act for another is termed A, principal, B, customer, C, agent, D, client. One who acts or has the power to act. I want to say agent. Correct. All right, we're starting to get a couple together. An agent acts on behalf of another and owes the principal and or client fiduciary duties. The customer is not represented by anyone. Question 18, we're getting to the end. A relationship between one person, principal, and another agent, wherein the agent is given the right to act on behalf of the principal in a business setting, is usually called A, trespass, B, customer representation, C, involuntary servitude, D, an agency relationship. That one seems to be correct for me. Correct. All right, these ones are a little easier on the end. There's no such thing as customer representation. An agent may work with a customer, but may not lawfully work for a customer. Those laws of agency going. Question 19, an agency disclosure is necessary in order to A, let the buyer know that the agent represents the broker. B, let the seller know that the agent represents the broker. C, let the customer know that the agent represents him. D, let the client know that the agent represents him. So we know it's not C, let the customer know that the agent represents him. A, let the buyer know that the agent represents the broker. B, let the seller know that the agent represents the broker. D, let the client know that the agent represents him. Agency. I want to say D. Correct. Okay. The agency disclosure form lets a client know who represents him. A customer is not represented by anyone. The agency disclosure does not discuss the relationship between the broker and the sales agent, but discloses the relationship of the broker/brokerage to the seller rather than the buyer. All right, guys, we made it to the end. Last question. Remember, if you want to get your own test questions, click the link below. Help support the channel. Use the code BURKE40, BURKE40. Let's go. Question 20. Fiduciary applies to the relationships between people in many different positions. It does not apply to which of the following? Attorney in fact to principal, trustor to beneficiary, agent to seller, attorney to client. I want to say trustor to beneficiary. Correct. All right, we got a couple right at the end. Fiduciary is an agency relationship. Trustor to beneficiary is a borrower to a lender. Let's see how we did. Save that. Hey, 60%. I think my best on this laws of agency before was 45%. So we're getting better. We missed 8. What I like to do is write down the questions and answers of these questions. There's science behind writing something down, get it locked in the brain. And we'll review these. We'll mark them for review. And we'll keep on studying so we can pass the real estate exam in 2025. Let's get back into the classroom. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please subscribe if you want more test questions, more vocab, more real estate concepts. We will pass the real estate exam in 2025. And I hope you guys pass it too. Thanks again for watching. Have a nice day.